Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Wednesday at noon, 3 and 6 p.m. and again is re-aired later throughout the weekend with the other weekday broadcast replays. Today is February 21st, 2018, and now the news at noon.
According to the Cortez Journal, law enforcement officials in Montezuma County recently questioned a juvenile girl who allegedly posted a social media photo of herself with what appeared to be an assault rifle. The weapon turned out to be a BB gun, Sheriff Steve Nowlin said, and a deputy arrested the girl Sunday on an unrelated charge of failing to appear in court on an assault charge. Nowlin added that the photo contained derogatory comments and the juvenile was not an enrolled student. Lieutenant Andy Brock of the Cortez Police Department told the Journal that parents and school staff alerted police to the social media post. No further charges were planned for the Snapchat incident, Nowlin said. The Montezuma Cortez RE1 school district emailed a Journal reporter about the incident on Monday and emailed parents and staff on Tuesday morning, according to Phyllis Lockhart, Secretary to Superintendent Lori Hockness.
Reported by DCTV, the first Dolores County Not-for-Profit and Volunteer Summit was a great success on Saturday, the 17th. A beautiful February day saw 10 of the 33 county nonprofits represented at this forum-style event. Hosted by the Dove Creek Chamber of Commerce at the Dove Creek Community Center, the two-hour event provided an enormous amount of cross-information between and amongst our nonprofit community. Members of the local Colorado Pay It Forward Club collaborated on bringing this first-year event together. In a festively decorated room, the go-to posters held quotes of encouragement such as, "We cannot do everything at once, but we can do something at once," by Calvin Coolidge. The design of the meeting was threefold. First, to invite the county's nonprofit entities together to share their missions, current projects, and future goals, striving to see where collaboration or shared resources could best benefit the community and to make sure more residents were aware of all the efforts undertaken for our residents in the nonprofit realm. Second, to encourage volunteers to attend to see where their time and effort could be most needed and align with their interest. And third, to bring awareness to the Southwest Rural Philanthropy Days event for potential Dolores County participation through expert presenters and or nonprofits participating in the training and funding opportunities. Two of the three goals were well accomplished. Stand-up presentations were engaging from each of the representatives, including Chuck McAfee for Team Up, Christy Chad for STUD, Recreation Department and Community Center, and also standing in for Community Prevention. Lois Oliver represented the community voice, followed by an enthusiastic overview of the upcoming RPD event by co-chair Cindy Arnold Humiston. She was particularly excited about the potential for a presentation spot specifically focused on Dolores County. Carol Marie Howell represented The Rock and shared its goals and efforts to keep traditions in the community, reaching out to kids and our seniors. Amber Anderson represented the Community Health Clinic and emphasized their reinvigorated objective to play a larger role within the community. Greg Liming introduced the room to the now independently 501c3 Colorado Pay It Forward Club's goals and then shared some insight on the important differences between an organization's mission versus vision. And Kathleen Kiesling shared what's been happening with the Dove Creek Care and Share Pantry as well as plans for re-emphasizing the Dolores County Farmers Market this summer. There was just one young interested potential volunteer in attendance, so it's clear that reaching out to our local volunteer community will need some adjusted strategy. Kendra Cook, Managing Director of the Dove Creek Chamber, provided a table full of handout takeaways and a platform to share the local nonprofit information. The feedback cards provided a resounding yes in wanting to hold another summit and move forward on coordinating and appreciating the efforts of our nonprofit with some insightful suggestions on how to make it even better next year. And of course, each attendee was encouraged to take a packet of vegetable or flower seeds with them as a reminder that we all need to be growing the future together.
Reported by the Durango Herald, a suspect has been identified in a rash of car break-ins in the Crestview neighborhood. No arrests have yet been made. The suspect is not a homeless person, said Commander Ray Shoup with the Durango Police Department. Because the person is only a suspect and an investigation is ongoing, police did not release a name. A Crestview community meeting was held last week, spurred by a number of car break-ins. The discussion quickly turned from crimes in Crestview to a broader discussion on problems tied to an increasing homeless population in Durango. Resident Donna Graves said while about a dozen incidents have been reported to police, she estimated the number of break-ins could be as high as 50 because many residents did not report them. La Plata County Sheriff Sean Smith said it's a good idea to report all crimes, even if they are discovered days after the theft, because it creates a more accurate database for law enforcement agencies and they are better able to identify crime trends. Shoup said the break-ins were easy targets, cars that were left unlocked.
An article and photo from the Cortez Journal. A bipartisan group of senators, including Cory Gardner, introduced a bill that would expand broadband in rural areas where the internet access is either slow or inaccessible. Gardner, Republican, Colorado, joined Senators Steve Daines, Republican from Montana, Kristen Gillibrand, Democrat from New York, and Amy Klobuchar, a Democrat from Minnesota, as sponsors of the Streamlining and Investing in Broadband Infrastructure Act, which cuts regulation for companies and local governments trying to expand broadband in rural areas. The bill requires broadband infrastructure technology be included in federal transportation projects in rural areas, such as the construction of new highways and lane additions. It requires that when broadband technology is put in place, it can accommodate multiple broadband providers so more people have access. Access to broadband is access to the modern economy, Gardner said in a joint news release. This bill would make federal construction projects more efficient by encouraging simultaneous construction of transportation and broadband infrastructure. The bill pushes broadband policy known as Dig Once, in which construction workers lay fiber broadband conduits alongside road repairs, avoiding the need to dig up a road a second time. Coordinating the expansion of broadband conduits on federal transportation projects would reduce the cost of laying cable and conduits by 90% because a second excavation wouldn't be required, according to the Federal Highway Administration. A similar program is in place with the Colorado Department of Transportation on state transportation projects in southwest Colorado, said Miriam Gilla-Wiles, Executive Director of the Southwest Colorado Council of Governments. The challenge with that setup, she said, is expanding broadband access along state highways that cross into another state. In Colorado, many people in rural areas either have insufficient access or no access to broadband. According to the Federal Communications Commission, sufficient broadband access is minimum download speed of 25 megabytes per second and minimum upload speeds of 3. The FCC's 2016 broadband report showed 39% of rural Americans lacked access to sufficient internet speeds. Federal funding and broadband expansion is imperative to establishing a rural broadband network that can support sufficient broadband speeds and access, Gilla-Wiles said. Across the board, there's very little financial support for local government to develop broadband on their own, Gilla-Wiles said. Both the federal and state support goes towards businesses. Daines, Gardner, and Klobuchar introduced a similar bill in 2015. It never received a vote. The continuous stalling of federal broadband expansion legislation hampers the ability of rural development groups like the Southwest Colorado Council of Governments to expand access because they can't rely on local governments.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, the Dolores Ranger District is burning slash piles on about 250 acres north of Mancos this week as part of the cleanup effort after a summer thinning project. District Fire Management Officer Pat Seekins said fire crews have been working on the controlled burn off and on for about 3 weeks, and on Tuesday they started burning what they believe will be the last remaining piles for this winter. Weather permitting, he said he hopes to be done with the project this week. Most of the forest roads in the area, which is located near the Millwood Road north of Joe Moore Reservoir, are closed for the winter, and Seekins said no new closures are planned as a result of the burn. The district typically hires contractors to thin the forest during the summer, and they leave the debris from fallen trees, known as slash, in piles to be burned during the winter. Seekins said the snow on the ground helps keep the fires under control without making the wood too damp to burn. Firefighters burn one pile at a time and monitor each fire to make sure it stays contained. This year, the district fire crews waited longer than usual to clean up the slash piles due to lack of snow, Seekins said. On Tuesday, he said the district burned 98 acres of slash piles. Dave Grettenberg, the Dolores Ranger District prescribed fire specialist, said he expected to be done with the rest by Friday. Like other types of prescribed burns, Seekins said slash pile burning is intended to help mitigate wildfire risks during the summer. And now let's take a look at the weather.
Looking at today's national weather map from NOAA, the major storm pattern is sweeping from Texas in a band ahead of the low-pressure system all the way up to New York State. Record high temperatures all across the eastern U.S. are an example of more of the extremes we continue to see all the way from the Gulf Coast up to New England. With 78 degrees in D.C., maybe we should be looking at some of the ways geoengineering might be making things abnormal in our environment. There's plenty of documented evidence of weather modification being utilized by various organizations. Sleet and freezing rain are forecast for states like Oklahoma, parts of of Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Iowa. And the unseasonably cold air over the western states looks like a stable pattern is in place that will hold on to those cold temperatures throughout the end of February and into March. Regionally, the hazardous weather outlook states snow is expected to redevelop this afternoon and continue on to Thursday with the next storm system. The southern to central Colorado mountains will be favored for snowfall. Another system then arrives late in the week into the weekend and should bring another round of snowfall to the area. The wave train will keep chugging with yet another potential storm next week, perhaps hitting the region on next Tuesday. The DCTV 5-day outlook. Today, mostly cloudy with a high near 33 degrees, east winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming southwest in the afternoon. Tonight, a 20% chance of snow happens after 10 p.m., mostly cloudy with a low around 18 degrees, much warmer than last night's 7 degree at my house. Southwest winds are around 5 miles an hour, becoming south-southeast after midnight. Thursday, a 20% chance of snow, partly sunny with a high near 33, breezy with a south-southwest wind 5 to 10 miles an hour, increasing to 15 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. Thursday night, a 50% chance of snow, mainly after 11 p.m. Patchy blowing snow after 5 a.m. in the morning, mostly cloudy with a low around 20 degrees. South winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, and new snow accumulation is less than 1 inch. Friday, snow likely, patchy blowing snow before 3 p.m. Mostly cloudy with a high near 31 degrees. South winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, and chance of precipitation is 70%. Friday night, it drops to a 30% chance of snow before 11 p.m. Mostly cloudy with a low around 12 degrees. And then Saturday, we get sunny with a high near 31 degrees, which is not very warm. Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low around 15. Sunday, partly sunny with a high near 35. And Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 16. Monday, sunny with a high near 40 degrees. And Monday night, partly cloudy with a low down to 23 degrees. And now back to the news.
According to the Cortez Journal, the City of Durango and the Business Improvement District will spend $85,000 this year to install hundreds of new lights downtown because they are more efficient and last longer and end up saving money in the end. The City and La Plata Electric Association will replace 135 lights along Main Avenue, East 2nd Avenue, and side streets in the historic downtown area in March, City Operations Director Levi Lloyd said. Across the city, LPEA plans to install 500 new LED lights over the summer, said Dan Harms, manager of Rates, Technology, and Energy Policy. This year, the co-op also plans to install new lights in Ignacio and Bayfield. The LEDs will save the city of Durango $90,000 annually on its street light electric bill, which is about $380,000, Lloyd said. LPEA tested different LED lighting across the city to make sure the new lights will fit the streets and intersections where they will be installed, said Ray Pierotti, a project specialist for the co-op. Areas with high pedestrian traffic will be well lit after the changes. To help save power, new lights in residential areas will dim slightly after 10 p.m. and in commercial areas, lights will dim after midnight. They will return to full power at 5 a.m.
Into the light, how LIDAR is replacing radar as the archaeologist's map tool of choice, published in the Guardian Weekly. A technology using rapid pulses of light is helping archaeologists to chart ancient settlements hidden beneath dense forest canopies. Photo credit Caracol Archaeological Project, University of Central Florida, and David Monayo of Wikipedia. Colorado State University archaeologist Chris Fisher found out about LIDAR in 2009. He was surveying the ruins of Angamuco in west central Mexico the traditional way, with a line of grad students and assistants walking carefully while looking at the ground for bits of ceramics and remains of an old foundation or even a tomb. He had expected to find a settlement, but instead he happened upon a major city of the Purépecha Empire, rivals of the Aztecs in the centuries immediately preceding the Spanish conquest of Mexico in 1519. The site covered 13 square kilometers. Traditional surveying would have taken years, so he turned to a technology that uses pulses of light to penetrate the forest and ground cover to reveal what lay beneath. In 2 seasons, we had surveyed only 2 square kilometers, Fisher said, but with this new technology, LIDAR, we mapped the entire city in 45 minutes. Today, LIDAR, short for light detection and ranging, is a key archaeology tool that can detect not only buildings, but also the remains of roads, agricultural terraces, aqueducts, caves, fences, and even boundaries between ancient neighborhoods. Using hardware based on the ground or on an airplane, LiDAR can produce images in 3 dimensions. In the future, drones will probably do most of the surveys. Besides Mexico, LiDAR has been used to penetrate forest canopy in many countries, among them Belize, Honduras, Guatemala, and Cambodia, where the vegetation had been too dense or too troublesome to allow for traditional methods. LiDAR came into use in the 1960s, shortly after the laser was invented. It works like radar, calculating distances by measuring the time it takes for a reflected signal to return. But while radar uses radio waves for its signal, LiDAR uses a pulse of light. What makes LiDAR a better choice for many applications, including archaeology, is that the wavelength is about half a micron, tiny relative to radar wavelengths, which are measured in centimeters or decimeters. For details of a relatively small spot on the ground, LiDAR provides a precision that radar cannot match. But not at first. To make LiDAR effective in areas with heavy forest canopy or even low-lying vegetation, engineers needed to increase the pulse rate. The first devices produced about 2,000 pulses or shots per second, useless in the jungle because the vast majority of shots bounce off leaves and never reach the ground. Today's archaeological surveys are routinely carried out at pulse rates of up to 600,000 shots per second. The second feature that defines modern LiDAR surveys is stops per shot. Each shot is scattered by leaves and other vegetation as it travels towards the ground. Modern LiDAR can count up to 4 of these stops, or obstacles, for each pulse. The 4th stop, if there is one, is the ground. The initial picture a LiDAR engineer sees is called the point cloud, a misty compendium of every pulse and every stop that the machinery has recorded at multiple elevations. Software can help a technician filter out everything but the last stop. The pattern that emerges is the topography below the trees, the ground plan of an archaeological site. And because of variations in the height of objects on the ground, engineers can show the contours, effectively creating maps in 3 dimensions. LiDAR has myriad applications. Police use it in traffic speed guns. Meteorologists use it to examine layers of the atmosphere and to search for concentrations of air pollution. NASA uses it in docking devices at the International Space Station. The U.S. military uses it to provide quick and detailed terrain mapping for troops.
According to the Durango Herald, Marine veteran Jeff Harris was among the first to sign up when the Providence VA hospital started offering acupuncture for chronic pain. Harris also didn't want to risk getting addicted to heavy-duty prescription painkillers. Although long derided as pseudoscience and still questioned by many medical experts, acupuncture is increasingly being embraced by patients and doctors, sometimes as an alternative to the powerful painkillers behind the nation's opioid crisis. The Military and Veterans Affairs medical system has been offering acupuncture for pain for several years. Some insurance companies cover it, and now a small but growing number of Medicaid programs in states hit hard by opioid overdoses have started providing it for low-income patients. The epidemic was triggered by an explosion in prescriptions of powerful painkiller pills, though many of the recent overdose opioid deaths are attributed to heroin and illicit fentanyl. Many opioid addictions begin with patients in pain seeking help, and acupuncture is increasingly seen as a way to help keep some patients from ever having to go on opioids in the first place. For a long time in the U.S., acupuncture was considered unstudied and unproven. Some skeptics called it quacupuncture. While there's now been a lot of research on acupuncture for different types of pain, the quality of the studies has been mixed, and so have the results. Federal research evaluators say there's some good evidence acupuncture can help some patients manage some forms of pain. But they also have described the benefits of acupuncture as modest and say more research is needed. Acupuncture has been practiced in China for thousands of years and customarily involves inserting thin metal needles into specific points in the ears or other parts of the body. Practitioners say needles applied at just the right spots can restore the flow of mystical energy called qi through the body, and that can spur natural healing and pain relief.
Reported by the Journal in Dolores, photo credit to Jim Mimiaga. Dolores Outfitters is bringing outdoor adventure back to town. The refurbished store and gas station at 341 Railroad Avenue specializes in camping, fishing, hunting, snowshoeing, and boating gear, plus offers rentals for paddle boats, jeeps, ATVs, and snowmobiles. The large retail space includes outdoor clothing and a convenience store area for snacks, camping food, sodas, and coffee. There's also a section of products for dogs. We cater to all of the outdoor activities and will set you up for your next adventure, says owner Cody Folsom, who teamed up with his girlfriend, Katie Ward, to open open his dream shop. Dolores Outfitters is working with Colorado Parks and Wildlife to offer fishing and hunting licenses too, just like in the old days. We are bringing back the days when Gene Story owned a popular outfitter in this same location, says Ward, referring to the well-known retired hunting guide and former county commissioner. A true jack of all trades, Folsom knows his business and is a bona fide gearhead. His extensive knowledge of the local backcountry is an added benefit of shopping at his store. Outdoor safety and adventure presentations are also in the future at the store. Ward is a certified dog trainer and plans to offer classes on that topic as well. After years working in oil and gas fields, Folsom saw a business opportunity in the outdoor playground that defines Dolores. Just like Katie and I, New Age progressive meets mountain man hick. Our shop is a gathering place for everyone, Folsom said with a grin. Dolores Outfitters is open Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. in the summer, and it will be open 7 days a week. Check out their website at DoloresOutfitters.com or give them a call at 970-677-0066.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of February 12th through the 18th. A county resident reported concern over hearing a dog barking from the direction of their neighbor's home, stating that it is unusual for their neighbor, which caused concern. The resident followed up relieved as the neighbors came home and the barking stopped. Received a report of a reckless semi that had been involved in a hit and run in Montezuma County that was traveling northbound on Highway 491. An officer was able to make contact with the semi and was able to detain until Montezuma County officers could arrive. That concludes today's roundup. Stay tuned for continued updates.
Today's High Canyon Country happenings, February 24th at the Mancus Brewing Company in Mancus, Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. Bent Fender comes to the brewery with country classics with an eclectic twist, local music and local brews, and they hope to see you there. Saturday, February 24th is the first of the season Four Corners Horsemen's Association Open Schooling Show, starting at 9 a.m. at the Sky Ute Fairgrounds and RV Park. Classes include English, halter, showmanship, Western ranch pleasure, trail, reining, and the awards are daily and series high points. You can see their Facebook page, Four Corners Horsemen. Starting this Saturday, the Durango Voice, like the TV show The Voice, a fundraiser for Manna Soup Kitchen, and it's back for its third year. On February 24th, the selected singers will perform at the Strader Theater for the live blind auditions. 12 finalists will be chosen and professionally coached to compete again in the finals on April 7th. Come out and support Manna and the local rising stars for this exciting and fun evening. Last year's show sold out, so get your tickets early. If you plan to go, it's henrystradertheater.com. All of these happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event information, contact us by email dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 970-677-4119, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. on each of those days. The weekday news shows are then replayed throughout the weekend as well.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.